guys, LoveBookTriangleLindsey here, and this is going to be my 2018 wrap-up. On Goodreads, I set the goal to read 50 books this year, and yay, I surpassed my goal. I think right now I'm about 55 or 56 books in for the year. I'm filming this video about 2 weeks before December is over, so I hope to have a few more things read by then. My absolute favorite book this year was Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, the epic conclusion to her Throne of Glass series. If you aren't familiar with this series, it's about an assassin. She ends up getting caught and thrown into prison. She gets approached while in prison, and she's asked if she wants to compete to be the king's champion. From there, so many discoveries about herself happens. She finds out secrets about herself that she has never known. So many people are met along the way, which brings us to the last book, Where There's War. And you would think that a book this big would have stuff that doesn't seem important, or they're just little filler parts, but everything in the book, to me at least, seemed like it had a purpose, and there was not a dull moment. There are many characters that get followed as you go on through the series, and they each have many parts in this book, or you get to see their perspectives, and I thought each one was important, and I couldn't see the book being without these parts, because then I don't think you could have got to where you did while reading this. I just thought there was one little part I would have asked for a little more from, but otherwise I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and I was just so in love with this and happy that it ended the way it did. Another one of my favorite reads this year was The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. I originally read this because the movie came out for this book in August. I have this series sitting on my shelf and it's just been sitting there forever, so I finally dived into it because of the movie, which is funny because I still haven't seen the movie, but my friend got it in her St. Nick's stocking, so we're gonna have to get together and have a movie night. But this series follows a young girl, who all of a sudden gets this ability. All these children in the world start getting these abilities, and instead of trying to help the children and figure out their abilities and help them control them, the world is scared by them. So they put them in these camps to try to control them, and there's a group of kids who breaks out of camp and they are fighting back. I just really love this book. I thought the abilities that the kids had were really interesting, and I can't wait to find out more. In 2019, I'm hoping to continue this series and see where all the characters go and what happens in the book. Another book that I enjoyed this year was Without Merit by Colleen Hoover, and this story is kind of weird. It's a weird family, and this girl, one of the daughters, she feels like an outcast, and like I said, it was just kind of a quirky story with a quirky family, and I think I just liked it a lot more than my friend who had read this, was because there's some tough subjects that happen in this book, and it just hit more home for me in some areas. And of course it's a Colleen Hoover book, so I cried. There are a few Colleen Hoover books that I haven't cried in, but that's typical for me. So I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. Also gave The Darkest Mind 5 out of 5. Sorry, I forgot to say that. But there's, like I said, some tough subjects that this hits and explores, and I think Colleen did a good job on that, and that is why I really enjoyed this. And another book that I really enjoyed this year was One Small Thing by Erin Watt. If you don't know, Erin Watt is the writing duo of Elle Kennedy and Jen Frederick. In One Small Thing, there's this girl who recently lost her sister. Her parents have her basically on a lockdown because they are scared of losing their last daughter as well. And instead of this ending up keeping her safe, she rebels. Now, this girl really didn't pay attention during her sister's trial for the killer. She just kind of shut down and put herself in a bubble, and she doesn't even know who killed her or many of the details. She just wanted to shut it out. So she goes to this party. She's getting ready to go into the school year, and she just wants to go out and have some fun, get away from her parents for a while. She meets this guy. They connect on a deep level, if you know what I mean, and she just had a fun time, and she thought she would never see him again. So the first day of school comes around, and the school's abuzz. They're talking about how could they have let this guy in the school, this isn't right, and they're very concerned about her, and she doesn't really understand why. And that's when she finds out the guy she had this connection with is now at her school, but it's not the freak out moment of, oh, they know what I did with him. It's the guy who killed her sister. And she has a struggle in the book about, should she hate this person like everyone else does because of what happened to her sister and her family, or can she be friends with him like the guy she met that one night before she realized who he was? And once you find out the cause behind her sister's death and what happened, it makes a little more sense on why she is having this struggle. So that one I also give a 5 out of 5 to. I had received that as an ARC, and I was just really, really excited because I like Aaron Watt. Now I'm going to talk about two of the more disappointing reads for me this year, and one of them was The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This book, it's not like it was horrible, but it had so much hype and I was so excited to read it, and then it just fell flat for me. It's about this girl who has a twin sister and an older half-sister, and when they're younger, their parents get killed, and her older sister is actually half Fae, and that sister's dad is the one who killed her parents, and he feels like it is now his job to care for the twin girls as well, so he drags them back into the fairy world. And it's a lot of her trying to fit in and prove that even though she's human, she can stand up against these fairies. And, well, I mean, she doesn't have the special powers that they do, but she tries her best, and her sister, all she wants to do is fit in, so she stays on the down low, and her older sister is just mad at the world and doesn't give a crap about anything. So I just expected so much more from this book, with the title being called The Cruel Prince. I mean, the prince is cruel, but I thought he could have been so much more than what he was in the story, and I just wanted more. That's all I can say, really. For all the hype that it had, it kind of let me down. I think I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I am kind of curious to read The Wicked King, which is the next book in this series coming out in 2019, and I'm not on a rush to read it when it comes out. Another big disappointing read for me this year was Better When He's Bad by Jay Cronover, and I was just so bummed because this was the first book of hers that I read that I didn't like, and I have read a lot of her other books before, and I like her writing so much. I'm not saying the writing was bad. She's a great writer. I just didn't like the story. There's this guy who lives in the Point, where it's like the bad area of town, and he's pretty hardcore, and there's a girl who also has had it rough and falls for the bad guy. Bad stuff is happening to her because they're looking for her brother, and he kind of gets mixed up with it because the brother is his best friend, and really I don't like how he acts or he treats her or treats people, and I don't like how the main girl in the story, really, I don't think she has a lot of respect for herself on how she just keeps coming back to this guy who treats her like crap. So I just didn't like this story at all. And I do have the next 2 books in this series because I bought them right away. I've had them on my shelf forever too, but I bought them right away because it was Jay and I thought I really was going to like them. And I said, there's no way I'm going to continue this series. which it's funny because I am currently listening to the second book, Better When He's Bold, on audiobook right now. I decided to continue because I have been waiting for other audiobooks that I have on hold, and I just saw that this was available and I decided to start listening to it. I was reading something else, but there was just stuff going on with work and winding down towards the end of Christmas here, or getting to Christmas, and I just wasn't in a reading mood, I was in a listening mood, so I wanted to put myself on hold, and everything else that I was trying to see if I could borrow to listen to just wasn't available, and this was. And I'm actually glad that I decided to listen to it because I am enjoying it so much better than I did this first one, and that just makes me happy that I like the story, and since I really love Jay, that I'm liking it as well. So sometimes you just gotta continue and give other stuff a shot, because just because one isn't enjoyable doesn't mean the other one isn't going to be. Life lesson. Some of the new authors that I have been introduced to this year have been Sawyer Bennett. She has a series, the Cold Fury hockey novels, and I think there is only one out in print form. The rest are either an ebook or audiobook. That is why I never really dived into it before. She has other books than the hockey ones, but I am a hockey lover, as you can kind of see through some stuff back here, and those were the ones I was interested in. And this year I found my library's online borrowing system for audiobooks, and that has opened up a big range of different possibilities for me. I never really liked audiobooks in the past because I always fell asleep to them, but hello, it didn't really cross my mind. I should do it while not just sitting in bed, I should listen to them while I'm doing stuff. And again, wow, changes the world of possibilities for audiobooks. So luckily the library has like all those books to listen to, and I have been going through them, and I really enjoy them because one, you get the hockey story, and two, her characters, both the male and female, are very enjoyable to listen to. So I am glad I've been able to listen to a lot of those books this year. Another author that was new to me to read this year was Max Monroe, which is actually a writing duo. And I have 2 books of theirs sitting on my shelf, just never picked them up yet. But the reason why I dove into one of their stories this year is because I won an ARC, and there were like 2 days to read it before it came out. So I decided, well, because I was fortunate enough to win it, I was going to read it. It was actually the 4th book in one of her series, and it could be read as a standalone, and both the male and female characters are really, really likable, and there's a side character that just had me laughing out loud throughout the book. It's about this football player, and he meets a girl who she had her life kind of all figured out, or figured out how it was supposed to be, and she had to take a step back because she realized she wasn't doing what she loved, so she had a lot of different odds and ends of temp jobs, and that is how they meet. And their story is really fun, and both of them just have their little quirks, and I loved it so much, so I'm excited to read more of Max Monroe in 2019. Rachel Van Dyken was another author that was new to me this year. I had her books on my shelves, just never opened them up. And her Eagle Elite series is what I've read. I've read 3 books so far. It's a really long series. I want to say she's at 9 or 10 right now. I'm not really sure. But the first book I didn't enjoy at all, but I continued because my friends kept pushing and pushing because they love this series, and I'm glad I did because it involves the mafia, and I didn't get a lot of that mafia story that I wanted in the first book, and as it continues you get more of it, you get more of the problems and all the stuff going on and how they're trying to fix things, and that is what I really enjoy. And as you go deeper into more and more characters, I enjoyed that as well. There you have it, some of my 2018 favorites and some of my 2018 not so favorites. Let me know down below what were some of your favorite reads this year. Happy holidays, everybody. Bye.